hope that you guys keep supporting the work and keep supporting our efforts. Because, like I said, we want to keep coming at you with different things, different exciting things, and in different ways. Let me check my time here. Alright, it's 2:02, so we're going to get started. Hopefully more people are going to join us in the chat room. But we like to get started on time, have our thing going on time. And this is what we do every Saturday. The mic is live, coming straight at you. I'm your host, Leroy Adams. Once again, we got, excuse me, I was up late last night. We got our brother Gil Scott in the background with the music. Coming at you, the late great, legendary Gil Scott, social activist and social musician. Once again, if the music is too loud, just let us know. We're going to take it down just a little bit so it won't be competing with what we're saying. But we're going to keep it going just to add some ambiance. Alright, so the mic is live, ladies and gentlemen, today. Again, I'm your host, Leroy Adams. Great to be with you again. Be blessed and walking, breathing, and alive on another Saturday. As we know, things are going on around the world where, people aren't that lucky to see another day. So we are glad that, the Creator has blessed us with another day. The family's safe, everybody's good. And we want to send a shout out to my mom, Dorothy. She's in Florida right now. I just got a text from my brother. They landed in Tampa safely. My aunt, Osi, passed away last month. And it was decided that the remaining sisters that were still alive would get together and have an impromptu reunion. Because my aunt was, because of her religious beliefs, she didn't have a funeral, and she specifically told my sister she didn't want a memorial service or any of that. So to memorialize her and to commemorate her life and their life together, my mother and her sisters are getting together in Tampa, and they're going to spend a week together. So shout out to my aunts and my mom and the family. I hope they have a good time. My brother went with her just to make sure that they stay safe and everything is good. So we want you to keep them in your prayers and in your thoughts and your meditations. So again, shout out to my mom, Dorothy Adams, and all that she's done, for her family and the people that she's touched. All right, so. Again, there's a lot of things happening in the news. A lot of things happening around the world, really. And, we definitely want to remember the people of Puerto Rico. It appears that they've been forgotten by our government, American citizens. It's a shame that American citizens are being treated the way that the people of Puerto Rico are being treated. And, we want to continue to hold them in our thoughts. If you can, there are many organizations that are doing things for the people of Puerto Rico. So if you can send donations or, really, if you got the time, if you got expertise in any given area, especially if you're an electrician, understand they need truck drivers, if you're a good carpenter, if you have any type of skill and you have the time that you can get away and join some of these expeditions to Puerto Rico, I strongly urge and encourage you that you do so, because they need people on the ground there. Last week we showed a video of a young lady who actually busted the people that's supposed to be down there helping these people, just chilling out in the hotels, not doing nothing. The supplies are on the docks. People are sending stuff. They're sending food and supplies, but it's not getting out because the government people down there that the government sent down there, FEMA and all them people, they're not doing nothing. They chilling in the hotel living it up like it's a vacation while people in the countryside suffering. So, again, if you have any expertise and you can actually lift a hammer and pound a nail and make something happen, and you can get down there, you have the time, you're in a financial situation where you can take off from work or whatever, and you don't have any family obligations, get down there and help those people. Same thing in California. We understand the last count, I believe it was like more than 400 people missing and over 50 people killed in those wildfires down there in California. So we want to send a shout out to California. Last I heard, they were fighting it back. They were sort of getting things under control, getting a handle on it. The wind had died down, and the firefighters were able to sort of get a handle on things, but they're still fighting and trying to save homes and save lives. So shout out to the people of California. We want to remember the people of Mexico after that devastating earthquake last month. They're still digging out. They're still trying to make a go of it. So again, if you can help people out, if you can donate, if you can give your time, give your body to go down and help with the search and rescue efforts, it's just devastating. We haven't, thank God, here in the Northeast in New York, we very rarely experience any type of disasters like that. We've had earthquakes, but they've only lasted for seconds. When we get these storms, we get the remnants. They're basically tropical storms by the time they come up here. I mean, we've been hit by hurricanes, and we've lost life, but we've never been hit like these people have in the South and South America and Central America. So, it's kind of hard to give people a point of reference to really understand what people go through when they deal with these issues. But just imagine your whole world being turned upside down. You lose your house, you just basically lose everything. Just imagine what it would feel like, to lose everything you own all overnight and be destitute, no way to feed your children. Your women are basically out exposed, unsafe, never knowing what's going to happen to them. It's very, very troubling, and we should remember these people. And if you can help, do what you can to help. If you can send a little money, if you can send supplies, like I said, most of all, if you can get your body down there to these locations and lend a hand and do things, not for the sake of being called a hero or not for the sake of money, but for humanity's sake, because this is what we do as human beings. When one falls, another steps up and does what's necessary to help people. Because that's what it's all about in the end, ladies and gentlemen. I love what I do. I get up in the morning, eat, sleeping, and drinking music. I always got music in my head. But I know once I'm gone and people forget that I ever played the piano or sang a song, the only thing that's going to be left behind is the residual effects of how I help the next man and I touch the next person. So, we got to get off our selfish kick thinking about how it's going to affect me or what am I going to get out of it, and think about the perpetuation of humanity. That's what's more important than anything. And even after you're gone, the fact that you help the next man and that man helps the next man, that's what lives on. That's the legacy of humanity, and we should all want to be a part of that. So if you can help, do what you can to help. A lot of people aren't in the same position. Some people send money, some people can't. Some people could, get some canned food and put it in a box and send it. Some people can't. Some people can take off work and, like I said, don't have family obligations, and they can actually go down and lend a helping hand. And, so whatever you can do, you should, let's try to do it and help people out, Again, there are a lot of things going on, and you never know when this whole thing is going to turn on a dime. I don't want to be, one of those doom and gloom dudes, but, like I said last week, you got to really start thinking about preparing for these eventualities. I understand Yellowstone is acting up, and we talked about this last week. How that is a planet killer. That's what the volcano in Yellowstone is, what they call a super volcano, and they sort of played around with it in that movie 2012 or whatever. But that's a reality. That's a scientific fact, and it's a scientific reality. That's nothing to play with. If that when Not if, but when that volcano in Yellowstone goes, and they're thinking that it's going to happen pretty soon, that's going to be something that's going to change the life of a lot of people here in America. Because that's a super volcano. That's not a normal volcano. That's something that's like half the continent is going to go when that thing goes. So that's why I keep telling people, get your water, get your rations. There's these emergency rations that you can buy and store away. They last for about 5 years at a time, because food is going to be short, water is going to be short, and it's going to get kind of nasty. So don't think because it's not happening here in New York right now that it can't happen in the future. Because like I said, when that super volcano goes, and like I said, this is a scientific fact, ladies and gentlemen. This ain't no hyperbole or no supposition. This is something that's gonna happen in the future, and when it happens, it's going to change the life of a lot of people, not only here in America, but all across the continent of North and South America, because it's going to be a powerful eruption. The cloud is going to blacken out the sky. The pyroclastic flow is going to be incredible. So, prepare for it now. Get ready now. And when you think about that, plus the other natural disasters that we face, and again, I'm not trying to scare nobody or I'm just trying to let y'all know that this is reality. This is the planet we live on. It's always changing. We've been fighting Mother Nature since we crawled up out of the primordial ooze. So, now we're intelligent enough to know when, why, and how these things happen. So let's prepare for them. Get it together. Let's get it together. And again, the key thing in all of this is one person helping the next man. You look at these shows like The Walking Dead and all these zombie movies, and I know it's a little crazy and stupid, but when you look at it and you see how when humanity breaks down, it brings out the worst kind of animals in people. And you get a few people that'll band together and work together and try to help each other. But then you get those bullies that's going to come around and take what you got just because they're stronger and they feel that they're entitled to it. And that's the reality. That when things go bad and people are in crisis, they tend to turn on each other. And the real key to survival, the real key to overcoming nature and its fury is everybody joining together, working together, helping each other, not like vultures taking advantage of each other. It just pissed me off when that hurricane was heading for Florida and that dude was out there selling water for like $20 a case. Like, who does that, man? People are suffering and facing death, and all you thinking about is money. Things get real funky. Money ain't gonna mean nothing. Humanity, equity of love and friendship and humanity is what's gonna matter. So get it in your heart now. Get it in your mindset to helping each other and reaching out and helping each other before you need it, and then there's nobody there to help you. That's just my little thing. So let's remember the people of Puerto Rico. Let's remember the people still suffering in Texas. Let's remember the people in Mexico and the wildfires in California. And all over the world, people are hurting and suffering, and we really need to do something to try to ease that suffering, and making the world a better place, leaving it in a better condition than what we found it in. Again, there's a lot happening in the news real quick. This whole thing with the Orange Man going back and forth with that senator from Florida, Frederico Wilson. He makes a call to David Johnson's widow. That's the the Green Beret sergeant that was killed in Africa. And now there's this big back and forth about what he said to her, how he said it to her, and this, that, and the other. I'm not hung up on that. They even had the chief of staff, John Kelly, coming at her, calling her an empty barrel and all this nonsense. And she's going back at them, they're going back. I'm just not with all that. My question is, why were we in Africa in the first place? Why was the American government operating in Africa in the first place? I get tired of all these people coming out of the woodworks, talking all this nonsense when they're not looking at the real questions. And we need to be asking the real questions. What are we doing in Africa and the American people don't know? And old Sarah Hucklebuck Sanders was on TV telling reporters they shouldn't be questioning a five-star general. Well, first of all, John Kelly is no longer a general. He's a private citizen, and he's a government employee, which means he works for us. So if we can't ask him questions, who can? The cornerstone of any true democracy is a free press asking tough questions. And I, for one, want them asking tough questions. And the number one question I want answered is, why were we in Africa in the first place without the American people knowing? And for any of y'all that want to talk that, we can't know everything, sometimes the government got to move without us, y'all better remember Vietnam, all right? The government was bombing Cambodia and all parts of Vietnam, South Vietnam, dropping bombs on those people, and we didn't know it for years until it got out of hand. We went into Vietnam, caused a quagmire that we got bogged down into for over 10 years. And in the end, those little rice-eating, pajama-wearing crazy fools chased us out of there with our tails between our legs. One of the only defeats that we ever suffered in American history. And now this old crazy orange fool is starting up with them all over again. So y'all better start asking the questions. And like I said, my question is, all due respect to my man's family and the fact that he went and died over there, but why was he there? Why was the American people there? And don't give me this nonsense about ISIS and fighting for the American freedom. It just kills me how, especially black folk, can get caught up in that nonsense again. We tell ourselves this nonsense. And I'm not knocking the military. That's a good career if you can get into it, and, you get those benefits to go to school and get what you got to get. But don't go in there a fool. All right, I know plenty of people in the military, got family in the military, and they'll all tell you the same thing. All that freedom and fighting for freedom and democracy, that's a bunch of nonsense, man. And we need to stop telling our kids that nonsense and give them the reality of what's going on and the potential of what could happen to you if you get involved in that. The American military is nothing but corporate hitmen. You are the hitmen of the corporate wing of this country. And again, I ain't knocking it. It's a job that somebody's got to do, but it's a reality. So get all that glory and fame and I'm the American hero nonsense out your head. Because if you was really an American hero, half of y'all wouldn't be sleeping in the streets, batshit crazy, when you come home. They'll have proper care for you. They'll have proper housing for you. They'll have proper jobs set up for you. See, they'll have the photo op and call you a hero and all that nonsense when it's time for them to be elected. But the truth of the matter is, you're a hitman. You're nothing but a corporate hitman. And once you've done your job, all that hero stuff goes out the window. And we need to stop telling our kids that nonsense. And let them know, if you're going into the military, this is what you do. This is what you'll be doing. This is why you're there. And once it's done, have your ducks in a row, because they ain't going to care about you. They're just going to drop you off and salute you and take the photograph with you and be done with you. I feel for that woman. She was draped across her husband, coughing and crying, and he's gone, and then the president gonna tell her, well, he know what he got into. No, he didn't know, because y'all sold him a bunch of goods. Y'all sold him a bunch of bull about democracy and freedom, when the truth of the matter is there hasn't been a war fought on this country that was fought for the freedom of the people. You name one war, you name any war, and I'll give you the real reason why it was fought. All right? World War One was fought for money. World War Two was fought for money. The United States didn't get involved in World War Two until Hitler started jailing the families of the Rothschilds and the other financial families of Europe, and he started taking the same families that own our money today. Our money is owned by these same families, the Rothschilds and the seven families that own the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is not a United States institution. That's where our debt comes from. You think we owe ourselves? Think about it. If you owed yourself money, couldn't you just say, oh, well, forget about it. I'll open another bank account somewhere. The Federal Reserve is a banking cartel, all right? And this is why we entered World War II, because Hitler was jailing those people and he was taking the money and taking the gold. It had nothing to do with freeing Jewish people. It had nothing to do with democracy. It was about money. The war in Vietnam had nothing to do about bringing democracy into for the Vietnamese. The war in Vietnam was about the drug trade. In the 1960s and the 70s, the Chinese, the Tongs, and the Yakuza were controlling the drug trade throughout Vietnam, South Vietnam. It was called the Golden Triangle. You can look this up. This is on record. This is where Nicky Barnes and Frank Lucas, all them dudes came to power because they circumvented the mafia and went straight to the Chinese and the Vietnamese and went straight in there and got the heroin on their own. All right, that's why Vietnam was fought. Vietnam was fought for the poppy, for the heroin. The war in Afghanistan, the war we're fighting today in the Middle East, is for the poppy fields. It's for the opium and the heroin. It has nothing to do with freedom and democracy. So my question again is, why was that young man in Niger? What is it in Niger that they want? Is it oil? Is it diamonds? Is it lithium? All right, I guarantee you, when the truth comes out and the fog is lifted, there's going to be a natural resource that we want, and we sent our troops in there to secure. And that's the truth of the matter. So stop sending your kids to the armed forces talking about, oh, you're going to fight for your country. No, you're not. You're going to go over there to fight for corporate interests. And while you're over there fighting for corporate interests and you're moving up through the ranks, keep that in mind so that at the end, when you come home, you'll come home with something, if you make it home, Again, I'm not dumping on the military. I'm just trying to give you the facts so you don't be going in there thinking you fight for one thing when the truth is it ain't got nothing to do with what they telling you, that bull crap they're selling you. Ain't got nothing to do with democracy, ain't got nothing to do with freedom. All right, because if it was, you wouldn't be pulled over and stopped and shot dead in your uniform when you came back home here in America. All right, if it was about democracy and freedom, then they wouldn't be ostracizing Colin Kaepernick and all these other players that want to take a knee and call out police brutality. All right, you don't even have freedom and democracy in your own land, but they want to tell you to go somewhere else and free some other people and make another country a democratic nation. Come on, use your head. Look at the reality of what they got you fighting for. Don't get caught up in this man's delusions and his diversion tactics. Okay. Also in the news, we gotta look at what's on the rise here with this white supremacy. There's a lot of attacks. People being attacked. Things are happening all over the news. I was looking at this thing the other day. At a prep school in Virginia. CBS 46 had reported how a football team had molested some of the black players, like pinning them down. The guys were being humped on and simulating sexual acts, calling them nigger and all this stuff, And another story, a black child was put in chains. It's going around on the web, and the teacher standing over her with these two white kids. They got her on her knees in chains, laughing like, it's all a joke to them. Yeah, this is this white supremacy on the rise. They're being very open about it. There's a new group in California that they're telling people to look out for, and they're called Rise Above Movement. They were present in Berkeley and Charlottesville, committing all kinds of violent acts against people, and this just reinforces the report during the Obama administration that was telling how law enforcement has been infiltrated by a lot of these white supremacist groups, like KKK, these neo-Nazis. A lot of them have infiltrated law enforcement. And this is why a lot of these guys aren't even being investigated. This Rise Above movement, they have a lot of criminals in their organizations, and they're not even being investigated by law enforcement. They're going all around the country creating havoc, beating people, stabbing people, just an all-out assault by these people, and they're not being investigated at all by law enforcement. And that's just because law enforcement has been infiltrated by these groups. So just be on the lookout, and guard yourselves and be ready. You got to be ready. You got to train your children, Get your children in some of these martial arts classes. As I was saying, you brothers need to get out here. I'm not talking about going to Pookie on the corner or under the staircase and buying a gun. I'm talking about going to a legal place, get your firearm, get trained, get your firearm license so that you can carry and have it in your home. If you don't want to carry it around with you, I understand that, but have it in your home. So when these people get funky and try to hurt you or hurt your family or hurt your women and children, you can protect yourself. Because this is for real. This man has got things to the point where these white supremacists feel emboldened, and they feel like they can do no wrong. And they're out here committing all these heinous acts. It's gotten so bad that George Bush addressed the George Bush Foundation last week. And he said, and I quote, "White supremacy is a blasphemy against the American creed." He did a whole hour speech on the climate in this country right now. And his his head ethics lawyer was on MSNBC. And he was saying how the GOP needs to step up and look at this man for mental illness and get him impeached. Okay? Now, very few things scare me when it comes out of these folks' mouth. I'm not too much afraid of anything when it comes to white supremacy and the things that they say and they preach. But there's one thing I do know. White folks stay on code. Even the most liberal, even the most kind-hearted ones will always try to make excuses when they see something of their white brother that they do that isn't right. All right? Now, when they break code, okay, when a white person breaks code, when they break code and send a warning out to the world, you need to be afraid. You need to be very afraid. Because white folk don't normally break code. Okay? White folk normally stay on code. Hey, Corey, it's good to see you, my brother. All right? White folks stay on code. And when they break code and tell you you need to look at so-and-so or certain things are happening, you need to pay attention. Now, when George Bush breaks code and he didn't mention, this President White House directly, but basically he was talking about them and the climate that they've created in this country. When George Bush and his people break code and say, hey, look, there's something going on here, the rest of us need to listen and take heed to what he's saying. Because this is real. This is real. When you see what's happening in these high schools across the country, this is a middle school. This is a junior high school with after football practice, the white guys got together and pinned down these young black boys and start humping them and told them they're going to F them, they're going to F the blackness out of them and all this vile stuff. Come on, man. They're getting this from somewhere, Racism is a learned behavior. Okay, skepticism, caution, and fear are instincts that we have and that we're born with. You know, those are your basic instincts of survival. You know that you have. Even a baby has skepticism. Even a baby has fear and caution. But racism, the hate for someone else because of their color of their skin, because of what they eat, or because of where they come from. Okay, racism and prejudice, those are learned behaviors. And those children that weren't born with that racism in them. They learned it from somewhere. If they didn't learn it from their parents, they learned it from an uncle, an aunt, or the people that they're associated with. You know, we need to take heed and look at what's going on here, what's on the rise here, and how this country is changing. It's changing for the worse. That these people are coming out of the woodworks and feeling emboldened to do this type of stuff. You know, there was another story of a young girl whose head was shaven, and they claimed that the young girl had lice. Now get it, there's three other girls in the class, but the only girl's hair that was shaven was a young black girl, and she didn't have no lice. Now, first of all, if it's that bad that you feel you have to shave one girl's hair, why you didn't shave them all? And why was the only girl's hair shaved was black? And more importantly, not even a doctor can treat a child without parental consent. Whatever the case might be, whatever the problem is, your child could be on the table dying. Understand this. Your child could be dying. And a doctor cannot operate on your child until an adult or a guardian associated with that child will come in and say, hey, go ahead and do the operation. So what gave these teachers the right or the gall to shave this young child's head? Without parental, didn't call a mom, didn't call a dad. You know, I worked in education for 23 years. If a child is sick on any level, you quarantine that child, you get them away from the rest of the children, you call a parent and have that child picked up immediately. And anything that has to be done to that child, you let the parent do it. You don't take it upon yourself as a teacher, principal, nurse, or anybody. As a nurse, you can't even give aspirin to a child. So what made them think they could shave this child's head? I tell you what, the orange man emboldened these racists to take their anger, frustration, jealousy, and racism out on that young girl's head. You know? And they do stuff like that, so as a parent, you react. You come in there angry, hooping and hollering, God forbid you beat somebody down, and then you go to jail, and they didn't kill two birds with one stone. They didn't humiliate your child, traumatized your child, and at the same time got you locked up and away from your child so you can't raise them and be there for them like you need to be. So you got to outthink them. You got to outsmart them, you know, and realize that this is a reality that this man has created in this country. All right, so I'm going to get into our main topic today, ladies and gentlemen. Main topic today is the de-evolution of Nubian manhood, the de-evolution of black manhood. And it's not going to be what some of you might think. You know, I'm not going to sit here and black male bash. You know, that's not what this is about. Because for the most part, black men are doing what they got to do. You know, for the most part, black men are out there working hard. They're trying to support their families. The black men that I know, you know, they're stepping up and doing what they got to do. This is a specific message to my young black brothers out there. You know, my young black man, Rodney. How you doing, my brother? My brother Rodney Kendrick. Great piano player. But man, I saw the pictures, Rodney, out there in Vegas, man. I wish I was with you. You know, as I was saying, you know, for the most part, you know, brothers are doing what they got to do. My message today is to my young black brothers, you know, And I'm gonna give you some background as to what prompted the discussion today. I was on the bus the other day, and this brother got on the bus. And I'm assuming that he got on with his lady, and he and he had a little girl with him, you know, and and I looked at the brother. Now this was Monday. I don't know if you guys remember the weather Monday. It was kind of cold, like winter weather. This brother got on the bus with these shorts on, look like pajama shorts, a t-shirt, these ankle-high socks, and flip-flops. And I'm looking at this brother. He had to be like 20, 23 years old, And I'm looking, and far be it, I understand that whole phrase, don't judge a book by its cover. But come on, my young brother. If that was your woman with a baby in her belly, and plus you escorting a young lady to school dressing and looking like that, my young brothers, come on, man. There's a time when you got to grow up, man. I mean, really, man. I look at, some of you 25 going on 30 years old walking around here with your ass out, your drawers, dirty, funky drawers showing. Like, come on, my brother. What has happened to manhood? I remember when I was 13, 14 years old, I wanted to be a man. I wanted to act like a man. Like the Bible says, when I was a child, I acted like a child. I spake as a child. But now that I'm a man, I put away childish and foolish things. So I got to say to you young brothers out there, it's time to grow up, man. For real, man. You look at some of these videos on here, and, the sisters be acting out, fighting, and acting all silly and crazy. And who's in the background taping that stuff? Who's in the background egging them on? You hear these young brothers in the background egging them on, taping it. And again, everybody's responsible for themselves. Understand? These young women that do this stuff is responsible for themselves. But as I said before, I'll say it again. I'm old-fashioned in that sense, and I believe that as the head of the household, the head of the nation, and the responsibility of the household and the nation falls upon the male. Anytime your women are out there degrading themselves and you in the background laughing and egging them on, that's not manhood, my brother. That's not your role. That's not your responsibility. You shouldn't want to see sisters out there fighting and hurting each other, scarring up their beautiful faces and getting locked up, I mean, your primary role as a man is to protect that woman, protect those children, love and respect the elders of your community, my young brother. When I see you out there cutting up, acting a fool, you're not doing anyone any good. In fact, you're hurting the movement more than you're helping. If you're 25, 30, I could even make allowances for somebody 20, 21. Maturity didn't kick in yet. But you 23, 24, going on 30 years old, and you still walking around with your ass hanging out your pants, talking about you're a thug. Dude, you're 30. What the hell are you talking about? What do you mean you're a thug? Is that your aspiration? That's your only aspiration in life, is to be a thug, to be a drug dealer, where is your drive, your motivation? Where is your manhood? And I gotta ask, where did that de-evolution of manhood happen? Like I said, when I was coming up, 13, 14, I couldn't wait until I was 14 years old. Because as I looked at the people in front of me, the young men in front of me, they were called young adults. I wanted to be a young adult. I wanted responsibility. I wanted to know how to fix things. I wanted my mother to be able to leave the house and trust me with money and responsibility. How many of you young men, if your grandmother or your mother gave you money and told you to go pay a bill, will that bill get paid? Or will it get spent on some weed or alcohol or something else? How many of you young men got your driver's license and can be trusted with the family car? How many young men could be left at home and your mom go away and your dad go away on vacation and come back and find the house clean and your brothers and sisters well cared for? You know? You young brothers got to wake up, man, and come out of that foolishness, man. You know, for real. You know, this is a new era. And things have to happen for our people, and it cannot happen without you. The truth of the matter is, every revolution starts and ends with the young people. And if our young men are walking around ignorant, acting stupid, you know, with no self-respect, no self-esteem, you know, no direction, no drive, then our whole movement is dead. We have no movement. And that's the truth of the matter. You know, it just hurt my heart when I see these videos and these young men be talking about, yeah, get it, yeah, and they laughing, and these women are fighting. And these young brothers, instead of stepping in and saying, yo, don't do that, sister. Don't hurt yourself. Don't mess up your beauty. They're sitting there laughing and egging it on. You know, that's not manhood. You need to reevaluate your manhood. I don't know who forgot to tell you or who forgot to teach you. And I can't even say that because a lot of these brothers come from good homes. They got good fathers. They got good examples, you know, of what a man should be trying to do and what a man should be striving for. And they just choose to be stupid. Yeah, I'm going to say it. They just choose to be stupid and make stupid decisions. You know, and you young brothers need to get it together. You know, you young brothers really need to get it together. And again, this is not black male bashing because this is not about all black men. You know, this is specifically to those black men who choose to turn their back on their responsibility as men in our community. This is a message to those young black boys who choose, instead of adopting a dress code of a man, to still dress like a little boy. You're a grown-ass man. Nobody want to see your funky drawers. All right? Nobody want to be sitting on the train or sitting on a bus with your stank drawers in their face. Pull up your goddamn pants. All right? Nobody wants to hear you cursing and acting a fool in front of old women and old men twice your age. You're a grown man, you know. At the age of 18 and 19, you could be drafted into this man's army and sent somewhere to fight for freedom. All right? Fight for the freedom of your nation. Fight for the freedom of your people. And the first battlefield in that fight is the one of perception. And if you 30, 40 years old walking around with your pants off your ass talking about you want to be a thug, you're a gangster, the perception you laying down is counterproductive to what we're trying to do. It's counterproductive to who we are as a people, you know. And you really need to get a grip, young man. You really need to get a grip. You need to, like I say, you need to, first of all, you need to adopt a dress code of a man that shows manhood, that shows growth. Come out of that 18-year-old pants-sagging, droopy drawers wearing dude, man. Nobody's going to respect that. I mean, think about it. If you was a multi-million-dollar corporation, would you want some dude representing you looking and dressing the way you do? I mean, really. Let's get beyond color and culture. Let's just talk business. You're a multi-millionaire and you have a product you want to sell. Who are you going to hire to represent your product and bring it to the people? You're gonna hire some dude with his pants hanging off his ass, dirty T-shirt and flip flops, or you're gonna hire a dude dressed in a tailor-made suit, fine tie and Italian-made leather shoes. Let's be for real about it. Who would you hire? I'll just leave that there, and you think about that, young man. You know, and like I said, our women, the way we treat our women, man. Like I'm just trying to understand, where does that come from? What kind of man are you that you could sit back with your phone and take two women fighting and sit back and laugh and egg them on and like that, like that's your entertainment? Every holy writing I ever read, whether it was the Bible, the Quran, or the Talmud, or whatever, taught me that women were a gift from God, yo. Not here for my entertainment. They were put here to be my right hand, the other half of my soul, the other half of my spirit. They're not here to be my entertainment. They're not here to entertain me like I'm watching WWE. Like, where do y'all get that from? Like, what kind of thinking is that? What type? I won't even say thing. What kind of mental illness is that? That's been put into your soul, that you think that your woman is here to entertain you on that level. That's sad. That's a sad way to be, young man. And again, this isn't black male bashing. This is specifically directed to a certain type of black male individual that has forgotten his purpose, that has forgotten his calling in life, that has forgotten the meaning, the purpose, and the divine, the divine purpose of black manhood. That's what this is about, you know. You know, and I implore you to really think about that and get this together, because there's only two alternatives here. You know, to be quite frank and quite honest. All right, it's like that old saying: you're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. You know, and our brother Tariq Nashad, shout out to him. I understand his movie was a great success. It's been sold out over the country. If you can get it, please get it. I tried to get tickets, but I couldn't get tickets, so I'm looking to buy it off Amazon. Even at the advanced sales on Amazon, it's in the top two selling movies. 1804. It's a documentary about the Haitian Revolution, and one thing he points out in the documentary is that before the Haitian Revolution got into full effect, before the Haitians on the plantations down in Haiti started revolting against the white folk, they got the house niggas first. They dealt with the house nigga first. They dealt with the problem within the family first. So I hope you understand what I'm getting at, young man. You know, get your stuff together, or else we gonna get it together for you. Because enough is enough. You know, we didn't stand on these picket lines, fight these police and all this corruption and nonsense, and hand you a legacy just so you could throw it away because you forgot yourself. You know, get it together, man. I mean, it just disgusts me to see it. The lack of respect that you have for your women, the lack of respect you have for yourself, the lack of respect you have for your parents and your culture, and ultimately the legacy that's been handed you. Like, rediscover your manhood, you know? Rediscover your manhood. I don't care how you got to do it. Get around whomever you have to get around. Get around somebody that can show you that direction. You know, when I was coming up, I never hung out with anybody my age. Even today, all my friends are older than me. All of them. Even coming up in high school. All of them were older than me. Because I knew the guy sitting next to me couldn't teach me a damn thing. Couldn't teach me nothing. And too many of y'all hanging together. Y'all are more concerned with your boys than you are with your women. I was 18, 19 years old. I didn't want to be around a bunch of funky dudes. And that's the problem. All y'all hanging out with each other. Get around your women, man. Get around your woman. Respect your woman and be around her and let her school you on what she expects from a man. And then go to a real man and let him show you how to get to that next level in manhood. See, that's another problem. Too many of y'all being raised by women. You know, not saying that our women haven't done a good job, but at some point you got to cut those apron strings and you got to get around a real man and let a real man show you how to get to that next level in manhood. I can no more teach a young lady how to be a lady than I can teach a fish how to swim, because that's not in my nature. And subsequently, none of you women out there, as good a job as you're doing, raising these boys to be good people, you cannot teach them how to be men. That has to come from another man. And at some point, you got to let them go, and you got to put them under a real man and let that man do what he got to do. Stop coddling them, stop sheltering them, stop making excuses for them. And let manhood be taught in your house and in your young men. Because it's a shame. The things I've been seeing, you know, and like I say, you're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. And we need to really address this in our young men. And again, this isn't black male bashing, because like I said, the majority of black men are out there doing what they got to do, handling their business. I'm talking about the ones who have lost their way and lost the meaning of what manhood is about. And we need to rediscover that within them. Excuse me while I check my time here. All right, it's about time for me to boogie on. And so, with that, I'm just going to say, you know, I'm glad you guys were able to tune in and join me. Please, once again, let your friends know, let people know we're out here at 2 o'clock every Saturday, rain or shine. I don't care where I am, I'll be coming at you. Because like I said, we're going to talk about be black, buy black, support black. We got to be on time on what we do. And I'm going to keep trying to bring you product and keep trying to, you know, give you things in a timely manner like I promised. Again, we get the album is still on sale. Please support. We don't want no donations for this platform right now. We want you to just please, when we reproduce it and put it out through the week, go to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, because that's how we're going to get the sponsorship for the radio station. So let your friends know, let people know, you know, support the platform so that we can get the radio station going. Once we get that going, that's going to be a 24-hour thing. We're going to have different shows, variety shows, talk shows, all kinds of stuff. You know, set it up for people to call in and be a part of the conversation and the whole nine. Again, the Tears album is still on sale with the number one music website. It's still rocking at number 7. It's still in the top 100 after 2 years. I'm kind of surprised and thankful for that. We got a blues coming at you pretty soon. My niece is doing some things. We're putting together a video for her. We got the R&B album coming out pretty soon, and my brother's gospel album we're producing with his wife, Sharon and Bernard. And we got some things coming at you. Also, my brother Eric Adams, the borough president from Brooklyn, he does a podcast where he talks about health and nutrition. A very good podcast. I encourage you to tune in. You can go to his website. He's on Facebook, and you can check some of those out. I definitely encourage that. We're going to get back into some health discussions too. I did one back in the summer. We're going to do one again. It's very important. You know, I encourage you guys, please, we got to take care of ourselves. Get out there. Let's get to the gym. If you can't afford a gym, or walk around the block. Watch what you're eating. Watch your intake. Get away from that pork, that beef, and all those GMOs that they're putting into the food nowadays. But my brother goes through a whole list of things. He actually opens up the refrigerator in his house and shows you what's in his refrigerator and takes you through some of the recipes. Diabetes runs in my family, and it got so bad that he was losing his sight. But he reversed all that. Not by the pills, because when he went to the doctor, they wanted to give him all these pills and all this stuff. He was like, nah. My brother was always like that. And he did his own research, read a couple of books, looked at some things online, and he actually reversed all the negative conditions that were happening. Again, not by taking these medicines, because the medicines that they give you really mess you up. He actually changed his diet and brought his numbers down, and his eyesight is getting better, and he's just getting better across the board. So it can happen. They tell you that our pharmacy is really our refrigerator, and that's so true. I know we change our diet up here a lot. Here at my house, we really sort of getting away from all the meats and stuff. We still eat the little chicken now and then, but it's mostly fish and vegetables, and so, you really got to take care of yourself, So I encourage you, if you can get over, look up my brother on Facebook, Eric Adams, and look at some of his podcasts, because it's very important that our community focus in on our health. A lot of that, what we call soul food, wasn't nothing but slave food. You know how we do. They give us lemons, we make lemonade. And that's basically what happened. They gave us the slop from their tables, and we fixed it up, spiced it up, and made it into something good. But unfortunately, a lot of that stuff just wasn't meant for human consumption. And those recipes that's been passed down through the years did more damage to our people than good. And we need to reverse a lot of that, I want to send a birthday shout out to one of my old students, Nellie Nels. She had a birthday today. To my friend Arthur Brown, happy birthday to you, Arthur. Happy birthday to my friend Augustus. One of my Facebook friends. Happy birthday to you too, my brother. Hope you guys have a great birthday. Socially, we want to shout out our brother Michael Bennett from the NFL. He came out against the NFL and basically said, until Colin Kaepernick gets a job, NFL players don't even want to talk to the owners. I respect him for that. Very gutsy and bold move. But we just want to keep the focus. It ain't about the American flag. It ain't about the troops. We want Colin to get a job, but in the end, it ain't about Colin. It's about police brutality and social injustice. Let's keep that fight going. We are still boycotting the NFL until they take the proper stand and show support for the 70% of the culture that make up their league and take a stand against police brutality and social injustice. We want to again mention our brother Tariq Nasheed and his movie 1804. If you can get a ticket, which I doubt because it's been sold out everywhere, but I'm sure you can buy the DVD. It's about the Haitian Revolution. Tariq Nasheed is the brother that did the Hidden Colors series, another good series. Another series is good by our brother Sabir Bey called Out of Darkness. If you can get any of those, I suggest you get them. Great for Black History discussion. So this is why I want to get away from this Facebook platform. Something went wrong. I don't know what went wrong, but I'm out of here anyway. Listen, folks. Yeah, so that's about it. Our hero of the day, Luther Campbell, great rap artist, a.k.a. Luke Skywalker, a.k.a. Uncle Luke. I understood They honored him at the 2017 Hip Hop Awards. Luke is a great artist. He's done a lot of things in the hip hop world, but more importantly, he mentored a lot of young men in terms of getting their act together, saving their money, investing their money, and not just being puppets and pawns of the industry. So shout out to Luke Campbell, our unsung hero of the black community. Once again, I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the discussion. I hope you enjoyed this thing. Just keep freaking out, man. Peace out. And remember, don't get hung up on the lies that they tell that you feel.
Oh.